Welcome to the 8th and final battle report for the Taros Air War campaign. For those who don't know, this is a solo campaign. I just needed something to do. Hopefully you'll enjoy the battle and have some feedback for me. This battle is a running fight along the length of a canyon. It's going to use that rolling area of engagement rule from the Taros Air War campaign book. So think of it as one of those old video games like Zaxxon, where you're always trying to move forward and destroy targets before you fly by them. As this recording is more than just a battle report, I'll be breaking it down in the description below so you can skip the parts you don't want to listen to or look at. So sit back and let me know what you think. The mission is the Canyon Attack Run. The attacker gets between 100 and 200 points of aircraft. No scouts, minimum 1 aircraft with ground attack weapons. This is already an issue, as Tau do not have any ground attack only weapons. The only limited use weapons the Tau have are all air attack only. So strictly speaking, by the rules, Tau could never be the attacker. Needless to say, I will have to ignore this rule if I decide to make Tau the attackers. For the defenders, they get 50 points less than the attacker, minimum 1 fighter and 1 ground defense. I've already decided if the Imperials are the defenders, I'll use the ground defenses from the Rin's World book simply because I have some of those already up. Because of the difference between squad composition rules for the attacker and defender, I'm going to have to roll in advance to see who's the attacker, who's the defender. Also, I think 50 points is a little low for defenders, especially for the cost of the fighters in this particular game. I'm going to have to roll. 1 to 3 will be 150 points for the attacker, 100 points for defender, and 4 to 6 will be 200 points for the attacker, 150 points for the defender. As for the setup, the defender deploys 2 3-structure ground targets in the leading section of the rolling area of engagement. The attacker then deploys all their aircraft first, all within 6 rows of the trailing board edge, any speed, any altitude. The defender then sets up half the aircraft within 6 hexes of the leading edge, again any altitude and speed. The rest of the defenders are reinforcements. Notice, even though GW specified that you have to have a ground defense, it never mentions how to deploy them. So that's poor mission write-up as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to have to specify things a little more carefully. First, for the defender's force description, always 50 points less than the attacker, minimum 1 fighter, 1 group ground defense, same as before. But I'm going to include a note. Number of aircraft has to be equal to or greater than the number of ground defenses. That's so we don't get a situation where there's only ever 1 aircraft and everything else is a ground defense. Secondly, for deployment, half the number of all aircraft, rounding up if an odd number, plus the ground defenses deploy. Aircraft must be deployed within 6 hexes of the leading edge, any speed and altitude. All ground defenses must deploy somewhere in the leading edge section. That seems to be the easiest way to handle that at this time. For special rules, we have the rolling area of engagement, which is basically players are trying to move from the trailing edge map sheet to the top map sheet. Long sides are considered impassable or canyon walls. Any aircraft that goes off the long edge is destroyed. As players reach the last hex of the top map section, the game pauses. All planes and terrain and ground defenses on the trailing edge are removed, and then the trailing map section is placed as the new leading map section, and everything gets deployed again. Both players roll d6, and the larger number is the number of terrain pieces that are deployed on the leading edge. Also, defender must place another 2 3-structure objectives for the attacker to destroy. Regular attacking aircraft lost on the trailing section do a handling check. If they pass, they go into reserves. Otherwise, they count as accidental disengagements. If they fail to return before the end of the game, they also count as accidental disengagements. Defending aircraft and ground defenses are handled under a special rule called reuse and recycle. They don't use the same rule as the attackers. For reinforcements, start of turn or after turn 2, roll to see if each aircraft comes on the table. For turn 2, they come on a 4+. Turn 3 to 5, it's a 3+. And turn 6 and beyond, it's a 2+. Reinforcements coming on the trailing edge of the map at maximum speed, any altitude, and then they continue to choose maneuver the same as all other aircraft. Also, this mission is fighting at low altitude, so maximum altitude band is 2. There will be obstructions tall enough to block line of sight and prevent planes from flying over the obstructions. So if you're not careful, you can fly into terrain and crash. Also, on a collision with another aircraft, both aircraft suffer a damaging hit and roll for random directions, unlike the standard rule which only shows the one moving aircraft suffering the penalties. Night fighting and bad weather are optional. I've already decided against this one simply because I'm fed up with it. I've used it for more missions than I expected to begin with. Finally, we've got the reuse and recycle rule. Defending aircraft on the trailing board edge. When removed, do not use the normal falling back rule or falling behind rule. Instead, the defender go into reserves on a 4+. On a 3 or less, they're removed and left off as an accidental disengagement. Attackers will still use the regular falling behind rule, as there's no special condition listed for them. So if they pass a handling check, the aircraft goes in reserves, otherwise they count as accidental disengagement as well. Ground defenses get placed back on the leading board on a 4+. Otherwise, every time a leading board is replaced, you always add 2 ground targets with 3 structure plus the terrain. Game length is going to be 12 turns, or until one side is forced to disengage, or only one player is on the map. Victory conditions are your standard victory conditions. Plus, the attacker gets a bonus 5 points for each ground target that gets destroyed, and the defender gets 5 points for each non-destroyed target when the tailing section is replaced and the structure gets removed. I think it's actually more advantageous for the attackers to keep moving a couple aircraft forward at maximum speed, creating as many transitions as possible to maximize the number of ground targets on the map. The rest of the aircraft can follow around on a slower pace, destroying bases as they go. That is, as long as the attackers can keep destroying the ground targets before the trailing boards get dropped. Now, how to be a jerk as a defender? Turn 1, first move. Do a stall turn on the first move and make the attackers have to roll a handling check. Then keep running maximum speed again to the leading edge as fast as you can and minimize the amount of time any attackers have to attack ground targets. This could backfire simply because you may get to a situation where the attackers can destroy the ground targets faster than the defender can roll over the table edge. But more or less, it would also be rude. So I won't be doing that, at least not until some of the attackers make it at least to the middle zone. So, because of the complexity of the mission, I'm going to roll to see how big it is. 1, 2, and 3 will be 150 points. 4, 5, and 6 will be 200 points for the attacker. And we're going to get 150 points for the attacker, so that would mean the defender only gets 100 points. And let's see who's going to be the attacker. High number wins the attacker roll. And with the 6, it looks like Imperials are going to be the attackers. Imperials are the attackers, and they get 150 points for their force. My first choice for the attacker is going to be the Avenger Strike Fighters. Between the Avenger Bolt Cannon and the other add-on weapons that they already had, these are good planes for ground attack roll. Throwing on 2 sets of Hellstrike missiles for each aircraft will just increase the oomph and deal with the requirement of ground attack only weapons. I think we got the ground attack rolled down with the 3 aircraft with the Hellstrikes plus their normal weapons. Also, the number of shots available from the Avenger bolt cannon, they should be able to handle tangling with the enemy fighters and have a decent chance of shooting them down. Now I just need to protect the Avengers from enemy aircraft, so I took 2 Lightning Strike fighters with the Sky Strike missiles. Normally I would minimize the number of extra missiles or one-shot weapons in order to get another aircraft, but even if I took a list of all the Sky Strikes and Hell Strikes in this squad, we would only be using 20 points. We wouldn't be able to get another fighter for the Imperials with that amount. As the mission requires at least 1 aircraft to have ground attack weapons, I had to buy at least 1 set of Hell Strikes, which is 2 points, I believe. So we're down from 20 to 18 points. It just made sense to take and buy the extra missiles. In theory, I could have taken 1 or 2 Marauder bombers and not dip into the reserve fund at all. However, the Marauder is just a target for enemy fighters. It really can't defend itself effectively. It's too dependent on other fighters to protect it. It's also a bit too slow. As the defenders, Tau could take anything, but with 50 points less and having to use reserves and having to have a ground defense, it wasn't going to be easy. My first thought was to use Tiger Sharks. However, we are playing at low-level altitudes with obstructions against a faster opponent. The Tiger Sharks could easily get left behind and unable to catch up with the Avengers or especially the Lightnings. So the only thing as maneuverable and close in speed to the Lightnings are the Barracudas with the afterburners. I found the railguns to be more difficult to use in this campaign, so I opted to go for the burst cannon variant of the Barracuda. I'm sort of wishing I had some of the ion cannon armed Barracudas in my squad, but that's in hindsight. Having decided to take the 2 Barracudas with burst cannons, I now hit a wall. I would really like to take another aircraft, but I am required to take at least 1 ground defense. With the full squadron list, I found there was only one way even getting close to 100 points without leaving too many points off the list. I had wanted to take only 1 ground defense, but that did not leave enough points even for 2 Remoras. So I was forced to take 1 Remora and 2 ground defenses. Everything else left too many spare points behind. So in the end, I chose the Skyfire once more as my ground defense. Maximum 10 firepower dice at medium range. The Skyfire has proven itself very capable in previous missions. It's a fairly light list, and I have to keep half the aircraft, rounding down, into the reserves to start. The question is, do I deploy both Barracudas at once, or keep 1 in reserve? So this is what the battlefield looks like for the Canyon Run mission. I've actually got 4 map sections here, because my map sections are only 12 by 9. Using the standard GW maps. So you need 4 to get the equivalent of 3 12 by 12s. So this is 36 inches or 36 hexes long, 12 hexes wide. We have a partial here and a partial here, so we don't use those hex rows. As you can see, it's very difficult to film the entire map during movement phase, so I'm not going to keep using this angle. It's just way too awkward to film. So I'll just go over the forces we're using and then we'll figure out how to do the movement phase. So here we are, we have our Imperial attackers. The first 3 aircraft are our Avenger Strike fighters. The black dice is just their numbers so I can keep track of them. It's hard to see which one is which from afar. Numbers 1 and 2 have added autocannons, and number 3 has las cannons as extra weapons mounted. As well, all 3 Avengers are carrying 2 sets of Hellstrike missiles, represented by the green dice on the back of the stance. Behind the Avengers are the 2 Lightning Strikes. Again, green dice in the back to indicate how many Sky Strike missiles they have. So Avengers have Hell Strike for ground targets only, And the Lightnings have Sky Strike with air attack only. For the Tau forces, we have 2 Barracudas with burst cannons and weapon drones with burst cannons as well. And the final flyer for the Tau will be a Remora drone, again armed with burst cannons. Our 2 ground defenses are the Sky Furies. And then we have in the background the 2 types of bases or objectives that we're going to have the Imperials try to go after. So this is our leading board edge. As you can see, I have the 2 objectives hidden away there. I rolled the dice for 3 12 by 12 sections as per the rules. Of course, the last section, the leading section, ended up having 6 objectives on, or 6 obstructions on it. So this is the leading edge that the Imperials are going to be running towards. Scanning through here, we had I think only 2 or 3 in the middle section. And then in the final section, we only had 1 big objective or obstruction to block the terrain. I think this is probably the best way I can handle moves, is simply by panning and scanning using this mount. Although I may just lay the camera down and film each move manually. So here we are, we're at turn 1 deployment. Imperials deployed first. I've got this lone lightning strike here. He's basically gonna zip up on here, down here, and up the side of the edge. The rest of the Imperial aircraft are gonna rush up this other edge. There's just an open pathway here for a bit, and then they can start splitting up as they march their way down the table. For the Tau deployment, we have our 2 objectives here. One over here, hiding behind a building, and one over here. I've got Remora down here. Yes, he's facing a closed off hex, but I'm going to be doing one of these other maneuvers there. And the other Barracuda is over here. We're keeping 1 Barracuda in reserve with the rest of the bases. So here we go, start at turn 1. We'll roll to see who gets the initiative. And Imperials get the initiative. And honestly, they're going to be so far apart, I don't think it really makes any difference. But for official sakes, we'll say Imperials will take the first move. For the first turn movement phase, I basically just took pictures of before and after and merged them together for this. They're just too far apart on the map to show them being moved together. So as you can see here, the Imperials all basically move forward on the top of the map, whereas the lone lightning strike at the bottom of the map will do a 2 maneuver to get into the aisle so that he can go forward next turn. On the Tau side for turn 1, basically they're going to move forward to go to the middle of the map. The Remora is sort of in the open. I did manage to keep the Barracuda hiding behind the building. It looks like he's going to run into it at the beginning of the next movement phase, but I actually left him that way so that he could do one of the side maneuvers rather than trying to go forward the next turn, because there's only like 3 maneuvers you can do going straight forward, and one of them the Barracuda cannot do, whereas out of the rest of the maneuvers he can do going sideways. So this is the end of turn 1 movement. As you can see, these aircraft are pretty far apart at this point. Nobody has line of sight or range on each other yet. The good news is the Imperials, for the most part, actually I think, yeah, the Imperials have made it off the first map section. So they're well on their way across the table. The Tau, on the other hand, are advancing forward as well to try to engage the Imperials as far away from the base as possible, to a degree. So here we are at the beginning of turn 2. Let's roll to see who has the initiative. Tau have the initiative, and they're going to make the Imperials move first. So having decided that, I'm going to start with this Avenger. He's doing a swoop. I'm dropping him down to speed 5. He's going to turn 1, 2, turn again 3, 4, 5. He's just going to try to come up the edge here and see what kind of mischief he can get into. Well, by the way, all the aircraft are at altitude 2 at this point in time. Nobody wanted to get into a spin and crash first turn or first shooting phase. For the Imperials, I'm going to activate this drone. He's doing a stoop. He's traveling at speed 5, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to drop him down to speed 4. Oops, wrong way. So he's going to turn 1, 2, turn again 3, 4, and he'll turn 1 hex side here. Next activation, we'll move this lightning. He's doing a swoop as well. He's presently going speed 7. I think I'll leave him at that. So he'll turn 1, 2, 3, turn 4, 5, 6, 7. He's now actually moved on to the 3rd map section. Oops, that should be 2, not 3. And he's got not a bad arc of fire. He's covering this whole section here. Next tile move, it's going to be the Barracuda, of course, and he's doing a stoop as well. He's traveling speed 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to leave him, I'm going to turn him up to speed 7, I think. So turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that puts him out of his front arc and still at medium range where his guns are most effective. This could backfire really bad. I should have moved him 6. Ah, well. He's traveling speed 7. What's he doing? He's doing a swoop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll be good for him. So 1, 2, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's at medium range. And he's got the Barracuda in his front arc. And there's no more tile movement, so we can go straight to these guys. He's doing a swoop as well. So he's going speed 6. I'm going to drop him to 5. So he'll turn 1, 2, turn 3, 4, 5. Flies him beside the building and just far enough away he can start doing sideways maneuvers that way. And this one as well. He's going speed 5. Turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's going to go between the buildings as well. And that will be the movement phase for turn 2. Remember, Imperials get first round of shooting. So Imperials get first round of shooting in turn 2. And here we have the obvious conflict. This Barracuda will try to shoot down this lightning strike unless this lightning strike way over here shoots down the Barracuda. So we're going to activate this one first, the lightning strike. They're both at altitude 2, so hitting on 5s. And I'm just going to slide this dice tray in here because with the uneven surface it's going to have dice bouncing everywhere. So this lightning strike onto the Barracuda, 6 shots with his multi-laser. And he needed 5s to hit. We got 1 hit so far. Needs a 5+ to damage. And he will damage. So that'll be 1 structure point on the Barracuda. But wait, there's more. He's got 2 sets of Sky Strikes, so I'm going to fire off the set now. Drop him down to 1. And that's 2 dice, again needing 5+ to hit. 1 will hit. Sky Strikes damage on a 3+, I believe. I'll double check that. And that it will do. So yeah, 3+. The Barracuda is shot down in the first volley of the game. So in theory, the next one to shoot would be the Tau. The only flyer right now is the Remora. It's got nothing in its front arc, even if it were to jing. The 2 Skyfire platforms, I just checked, they're over 10 hexes away from the closest fighter, whether they had line of sight or not. So that's going to end the shooting for turn 2. We're going to go prepare for turn 3. Before I forget anything else, I should have done this at the beginning of turn 2. I need to roll for reinforcements. So for reinforcements, there's only the 1 Tau Barracuda left. It would have come in on a 4+ last turn. On turn 3 through 5, it comes in on a 3+. Let's see if we can get the Barracuda in. And the Barracuda will come in onto the table at the beginning of turn 3. So here we are, beginning at turn 3. Orders have been given. You can see the last Barracuda is coming in at max speed over here. We got our poor Remora all by himself over here, and the Imperials are coming up the side of the field. Now we just got to roll to see who has initiative. We've moved on to the top 3 panels of the map. We don't need to worry about the full map anymore, so we can do the full move this turn. And again, the Tau win the initiative. However, we're so badly outnumbered, I don't know if it's a good idea to let the Imperials move first or shoot first or not. I think I'm going to have the Tau activate first. That way they can shoot first. So, first one to activate, well, big surprise, it's going to be this Barracuda way back here. He's at speed 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to drop him down to speed 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason I slowed him down is because this way he can go either side of the buildings. Next activation. So, first Imperial activation. May as well move this guy. He's doing straight level flight. He's traveling speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's just out of range to shoot at that ground defense. Next tile activation is going to be the Remora. He's doing a stoop. Traveling speed 4. I think I'm going to bump him up. His maximum speed right now is 6. He's got a throttle of 2. Yeah, let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll move him to 6. I'm worried about how close they'll be otherwise. So turn 1, 2, 3. Turn 4, 5. And I'm going to turn twice. Did I do that right? Yeah, I did. That made me do that. He was here. Turn 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to turn twice, 5, 6. That will give me this area to engage. That's probably another mistake, I'm thinking. Okay, so next Imperial activation, we'll do this guy here. He's doing a swoop. He's traveling speed 7. I'm not going to be able to do anything against him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should be good. So turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This way he's got the building between him and the Barracuda, and hopefully between him and the defense platform. And there's no more tile movement, so we may as well move the rest of these guys. He's doing a 6. Another stoop. So he's gonna go turn 1, 2, 3, 4, turn 5, 6, 7. I'll just move that counter out of the way, and he will turn 2 hex sides, and he'll have arc on Remora. Oh, by the way, this was the one that shot down the Barracuda before. That was lightning strike number 4. This is lightning strike number 3. And this guy's got a 2. He's traveling 5. That should work. So he'll turn 1, 2, 3, 4. One more, 5. And finally, we have another swoop, and he's going 5. I'm going to drop him down to 1, 2, 3. I'm going to drop him down to 4. If I can get the dial to turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and he will turn. And that will take care of movement for turn 3. So for first activation of turn 3 in the shooting phase, there really isn't any choice. It's a good thing Tau chose to take the first move. We're going to move the Remora, or activate the Remora, and he's going to jinx, and he's going to jinx this way. That will completely block his line of sight from that other aircraft over there. At least I believe it will. We'll have to double check later. And it'll keep him in short range here. His fire isn't the most impressive at short range. So having done that, we may as well shoot this Avenger. And he's got Avenger bolt cannon. Short range, he only gets 2 shots. So let's grab our thing here, and hopefully I can keep everyone together. 2 shots, needing 5s to hit. He will hit once. That is not good news. Will he destroy? No. Oh wait, yes he will. He has a 4+ damage on the Avenger bolt cannon. A 4 will damage the Remora. Remora only has 1 structure point, so the Remora is destroyed by Avenger number 3. So the next Tau activation is kind of painful. We've only got the Barracuda left. He does have front arc fire to this Avenger here, but they're outside the 10 hex range, so there's no shooting. Meanwhile, the building in between the Barracuda and the 2 lightnings prevent it from shooting at that. There is no other aircraft in the Barracuda's arc of fire. Again, none of the ground defenses have line of sight or range on any of the enemy aircraft yet. So I did a bit of a recheck just to make sure I didn't miss anything. This defense platform is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hexes away. That's at long range. Unfortunately, the defense platform has no long range shots. I checked the angle, and if you go from corner to corner, you can see each other. So I was about to shoot the lightning strike at the defense platform and realized the lightning strike is at altitude 2. He can't shoot. He needs to be at altitude 1 in order to strafe a target. So yes, that is the end of turn number 3. Here we go, beginning of turn 4. Let's roll to see who has initiative. It's a draw. Let's try again. And Tau win the initiative again. I do not like this. I think I'm going to make the Tau activate first. Even if that means I'm going to be risking where the Barracuda ends up, it makes the most sense for the Tau. So, Barracuda is traveling at speed 6. He's done a swoop. Yeah, let's see. I think we'll just fix this a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm going to drop him down to speed 5. Turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he'll turn back this way. That way he's covering this whole area. That leaves the rest of the Imperial forces. Oops, he's doing a swoop. He's traveling speed 5. I think that's okay. We're going to turn once. 1, 2, turn again, 3, 4, 5. And I'm dropping him from altitude 2 to altitude 1. That'll increase his speed to speed 6 next turn. He's lined up for an attack onto the ground defense. Let's see, what do we got? He was doing a 6. He's traveling at speed 7. I'm going to drop him down to 4, I think. So he's going to turn once. 1, 2, 3. Turn more time. 4. And he will turn once. So he's now got the Barracuda in his front arc, but he is at short range, so he's not going to get his best shooting. This guy here, he's doing a turn. He's doing 7. I'm going to again drop him down from 7, 6, 5, 4. He's going to turn 1, 2, turn 2 hex sides, 3, 4. Again, he's able to keep the Barracuda in his front arc, but he's at medium range. Meanwhile, for ground attack over here, we have another swoop. He's speed 4. I'm going to bump him up to speed 6. Oh wait, I think he can only go 1. So speed 5, and I'm dropping him to altitude 1. If I can move the dial. Okay, so he's going to turn once, turn again, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will give him some line of sight to this ground defense over here. And this one's doing the same thing. He's at speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll leave him at 5. 1, 2, 3. Turn 4, 5. By leaving him at speed 5, I don't end up at the same hex and causing a potential collision. And I think, yeah, he'll drop down to altitude 1 as well. Before I forget. So, the Avengers are all at altitude 1. The Lightnings are at altitude 2, along with our Barracuda. Okay, beginning of shooting in turn 4. I'm voting the Barracuda most likely to get shot down this turn. He's got 2 lightnings gunning for him at the same altitude. Unfortunately, the Avengers dropped to altitude 1, so they're going to be 6s to hit. And neither lightning is in his front arc. So we're going to have to choose to shoot the main weapons forward at the first Avenger. He happens to be at medium range, which lets the Barracuda have maximum number of shots from his forward firing weapons. So let's set it up. He's going to be shooting at this guy here. 1 Barracuda. Let's see how many dice we get. 6 dice for medium range. Needing 6s to hit and 5s to damage. And he did manage to get a single hit. He now needs a 5+ to damage, and he failed to damage. He now gets 3 missile shots, again needing 6s to hit, 4s to damage. He will hit with the missile once, and he will damage it. So that's 1 damage point against the first Avenger. That's the first successful hit for the tower. Next, we have, I would like to shoot at him, but he's at short range, and the weapon drones do not have short range fire. But the other lightning is in the side arc, just barely. So I'm going to take my 3 shots at him. He's at same altitude, so it's 5s and 5s to hit and damage. No hits with the weapon drone, and that'll be it for the Barracuda. So Imperials now get a choice as to what to shoot at. Now we could ignore the shooting at this Barracuda, but the ground defense here in the middle of the left screen, he's in range to shoot at that lightning at the top middle of the screen. The 2 Avengers are actually just outside of range in long range. So we could shoot at that ground defense with the Avengers. However, we have another Avenger up here making an attack run on this ground defense. And this ground defense actually has medium range on that Avenger. So if I don't shoot him first, I could lose the Avenger. If I don't shoot this guy first, I could use the lightning. In the end, we're down to 1 Tau aircraft. I'm not so worried about air-to-air anymore. I'm going to concentrate this Avenger attacking the ground defense. So, first shooting for the Avenger, it's going to be his Avenger bolt cannon against the ground defense. Now he's at altitude 1, so this is a straight strafing attack. He needs 5s to hit, and I believe it's 4s to damage. I got 2 hits with the Avenger bolt cannon. 1 will damage. So that's 1 damage point now. He also has, on number 2, is the autocannons. And the autocannon has 3 shots, needing 5s to hit and 4s to damage. No hits with the autocannon. But I also have Hellstrike missiles. And the Hellstrike, they are considered a bombing attack because they're a ground attack weapon only. So instead of hitting on 5s, because I'm at altitude 1, they now hit with a +1, so 4+ to hit. And the Hellstrike do extra damage on the 6+. So medium range, I get 2 shots, needing 4+ to hit. Both of them are going to hit. And on a 3+ they damage. 6 will do extra damage, so that's 2 points of damage, plus the point we did before. That ground defense is destroyed. So next tile activation, we only have one other possible activation. It's going to be this ground defense over here. And the only aircraft in range is this lightning strike. So it's medium range. He gets 10 dice, needing 5s to hit and 5s to damage. And we'll get 2 whole hits. Woohoo! Now if both of them roll damage, then we shoot down the lightning strike. Then we'll only get a single point of damage on the lightning strike. And that's it for the tau shooting. But we still got lots to shoot here. I'm going to start with this lightning strike. Oh wait, which one shot? He shot before. Never mind. No, he didn't. He'll shoot next. I can't keep track of what I'm doing anymore. Okay, so he's at medium range. He's going to get 6 shots with his multi-laser, needing 5s to hit and 5s to damage. 2 hits with the multi-laser. And no damage. He does have Sky Strike missiles. I'll launch a pair, again needing 5s to hit. No damage. And I think I'm going to hold off from firing another missile set. And I'll explain why in a minute, although I don't think it's going to make much difference. If he shoots down the last Barracuda, then there are no more tau aircraft and the game ends. This way they can at least try to make it and destroy one of the ground targets. So next up, I'm going to take and fire this lightning at the Barracuda as well. And again, we're going to need 5s to hit, 5s to damage. And at short range, he only gets 4 shots. No hits. I do have 1 set of missiles left, but I don't think they can shoot. Yeah, they can't shoot at short range, so the missiles won't work. But we still have the Avengers here to shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's long range, but he can shoot at that ground defense. And I'm going to start off, I think, with the Hellstrike missiles. And remember, they count as a bombing attack because they're ground attack only weapons. So instead of 5s to hits, it's 4s to hit. I will hit once, and the missiles will do damage on a 3+. And I will fail to damage. No, I'll save the next missile pack. The Avenger bolt cannon has no shots. The heavy stubber is not facing the right way. The first one is autocannon. It has no shots. I may as well fire the last Hellstrike. So another 2 shots. Again, needing 4s. 2 4s. Now I need 3s to damage. 1 will damage. And so the ground defense has 1 structure point left, I believe. Yep. However, we have this guy behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, he's just in long range. Do I want to use his Hellstrikes? That is the question. I think I'm going to save his Hellstrikes for trying to get at the targets hiding behind the buildings. So that will effectively end turn 4. So here we are at turn 5, and we're basically on the last 2 panels of the extended board. Let's roll, see who has initiative. Imperials have initiative. And now the question becomes, what do they want to do? And I think they're gonna want to give first move to the Tau, just to be nasty. So the only Tau movement is, of course, the Barracuda. I've got him doing a snap turn. He's presently going speed, speed 5. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm going to bump him up to speed 6. So he's going to turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he will turn again back the way he came. And that'll give him arc of fire into here. So for the Imperials, we have another level flight over here. And remember, this was Avenger number 2. He managed to destroy the ground defense. He's going speed 6. I'm dropping him now to speed 5. And he's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and he will turn here. In theory, I could have turned here, but there was a chance the ground defense could have shot at him. So it's just safer to go this way. Now the building completely blocks the hex. Let's see what other things we can move easily. Oops, that's not a movement. That's the movement. Another level flight. He's going speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what do I want to do now? Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it like that. So he's got 1 damage point. He has no more ground attack missiles, so he's pretty much done. This guy here, he's doing level flight as well. He's going speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll keep him at 5 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That leaves these two. So this one chose to do a 6. And he's traveling speed 4. So he's going to go turn this way. 1, 2, 3. Turn 4. And then he'll turn 2 hex sides. So he's back to medium range against these guys, against the Barracuda. And this one chose to do the snap turn as well. Question is, which way do I want him to go? He's going 4. Yeah, we'll do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn around, face the way he was going. And that's it for movement for turn 5. So, Taugat first activation. The first activation we're going to do is this ground defense here. Both the Avengers are at short range. There's not much I can do. I only get 4 shots, and my best bet is to take out the one that's damaged. So, taking 4 shots at the damaged Avenger, needing 5s to hit, 5s to damage. I got a single hit. Can I damage him? Yes, I do. So the damaged Avenger will explode in midair. So the second Avenger is going to take a shot at the ground defense here. He's at short range, so unfortunately his Avenger bolt cannon only gets 2 shots. So hitting on 5s, damaging on 4s. He'll hit once. Will he damage? Yes, he will. And that will take out the last ground defense for the Tau. Next Tau activation is going to be the Barracuda against the Avenger here. Unfortunately, I forgot to drop his altitude, so he's at altitude 2 while the Avenger's at altitude 1. So he's hitting on 6s, damaging on 5s with his burst cannon. And he will not hit with the burst cannon. He does have 3 shots with the missile, hitting on 6s, damaging on 4s. No hits. And just for grins, I'm going to use the weapon drone. I'm going to use it on this guy here, simply because I'm doing so bad against the ground or the Avengers. I'm hitting on 5s, damaging on 5s against the Lightning because they're still at altitude 2 as well. So 3 shots, 5s and 5s. And I will hit once, but fail to damage. So now we have a question for the Imperials. Do they want to shoot down the Barracuda now or wait? And I think we're going to wait a bit because we still have one Avenger with a good line of sight to one of the main ground targets that we've been after this whole game. So this is Avenger number 2 making attack run on this target, and that has 3 structure points. We'll start strafing with the Avenger bolt cannon first. 5 shots, needing 5s to hit and 4s to damage. He'll get 1 hit. Damages on a 4+, extra damage on a 6. That's 1 point of damage on the target so far. He also has twin autocannons, giving him another 3 shots. Again, 5s to hit, 4s to damage, no extra damage. No hits with the autocannon. He does have 1 set of Hellstrike left. I'm going to use them. They're ground attacks, so they count as a bombing attack, hitting on 4s because he's at altitude level 1. And he will hit once, the other will miss. And Hellstrike will damage on a 3+, extra damage on a 6. He rolled a 1, so no damage. He's now out of Hellstrike. So I went and double-checked the rules. We do not need to destroy one of the targeted ground targets to win the mission. If you've seen some of the missions, you'll see a lot of them. If you don't destroy a designated target, then the best you can hope for is a draw. According to this mission brief, that is not a condition. But I think it's a moral victory for the Tau if the Imperials don't destroy at least 1 target. So I'm going to continue the game by saying both of the Imperial Lightnings will hold their fire to give these guys another shot at the ground target. Remember the old adage, hindsight is 20/20? Well, I'm a victim of that again. It was in the process of putting together this video that I realized another mistake I had made. So when I started the game, I was thinking the insurmountable losses rule was determined by 25% or less of the aircraft per side. As Tau only had 3 aircraft, they could never drop below 25% unless all 3 were destroyed. In fact, the rules state 25% or less of the numbers of the force. So that would include ground defenses. So we would have 5, not 3 for a force number. And with the destruction of the last ground defense, the remaining Barracuda only counts as 20% of the force. Meaning, turn 6 is the disengagement turn. However, I didn't catch that at the time. As you heard in the previous comment, I was actually trying to keep the Barracuda alive just so that I would have a chance to destroy one of the targets. So you'll see an extra turn played in this mission. I'll try to show what the score is for both in the final analysis. So here we go, turn 6. Maneuvers have been assigned. Let's see who's going to get initiative. And Imperials get the initiative. I don't think it really matters to them. They'll go first. We'll see what happens. So first move is going to be this guy here, and he's doing a stoop. So he's traveling speed 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. I think I'm going to increase him to 6. That's the max speed he has. So he'll turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He turns once, 6, and then he turns again. We're just running out of room here. Over on this side, we have the Tau Barracuda. He's doing a stoop as well. He's presently traveling speed 6, yeah. Altitude 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn 6. Yeah, I'm going to leave him at 6. So turn 1 again, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn twice, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's just in medium range. And I'm going to drop him from altitude 2 to altitude 1 for a change. So now he's hitting on 5s instead of, whoops. Now he's hitting on 5s instead of 6s. So we'll take him with this guy. He's got a stoop as well. He's moving maneuver speed 5. So he's going to turn 1, 2. Let me get this guy straightened out again. 3, 4. And I'm going to turn this way 5, and he will turn 2 hex sides. It may look counterintuitive, but he's at short range to the Barracuda. He will be able to shoot his stubber back at him. More importantly, he'll be in a good position to maneuver next turn to get a shot at that ground target. Meanwhile, back at these guys, we have another one of those wonderful stoops. Let's see, what's he traveling at? He's traveling at speed 4. I think that's good. So he's going to turn once, 1, turn again, 2, 3, 4, and he'll turn 1 hex side. And his fire arc splits, so he's still got the Barracuda in his arc. And this guy here, he's doing a stoop as well. Oops, I forgot to drop his altitude. I'm dropping his altitude as I haven't done anything else yet. He's at altitude 1. Stop that. And this guy is at speed 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not going to be enough. What the heck? Turn 1, 2, 3. He turns once, 4, and he turns 1 hex side. And again, his front arc splits. He'll be able to take a shot at him as well. That will take care of movement for turn 6. Let's see what happens. So, first firing phase for the turn. We're going to have this Avenger take a strafing run at the ground target. Unfortunately, he's at short range. He only gets 2 shots with his Avenger bolt cannon. Excuse me. So, again, he's strafing. He needs 5s to hit. and 4 plus the damage, 6 is extra damage. He will fail to hit. He has no more missiles, and he has las cannons on this one. Las cannons cannot shoot at short range, so that's it for shooting for that Avenger. The only real Tau activation is going to be this Barracuda. So at this point, he's got both Avengers in his front arc. This Avenger has already fired, but this Avenger is at short range and we're tailing him. So I'm going to skip this guy because I just get more shots over here. So firing the burst cannon, needing, we're both at altitude 1 now, so needing 5s and 5s. Oh, for once we got some good shooting. 4 hits, needing 5s to damage. And we got 2 6s. The Avenger only has 2 structure points, so the Avenger is destroyed. So that leaves us with our... We can't shoot at the other Avenger because he's in the same front arc, but I do have these other 2 lightnings attacking me. Unfortunately, the weapon drones only have medium and long range, and both these lightnings are at short range, so we're not going to be able to shoot this turn. Seeing as everything else is sitting right here, we may as well roll them right here. The Avenger here has a tail gun. He only gets 1 shot, but 1 shot's better than nothing. We'll shoot it at the Barracuda, needing 5s and 5s, I believe. Yep. He will hit. Will he damage? No, he will not. Back to the lightnings. They're both at short range. The lightnings at short range only have 4 shots. So let's start with the damaged one. And that is going to be lightning number 4. He gets 4 shots. He's at altitude 2. He needs 6s, then 5s. He got hit once. Can he roll a 5? No, he does not. And the other Avenger, he's at altitude... Let me double check. I think he's at 1. Yes, I dropped him to 1. Forgot to drop this one. Remembered to drop that one. Go figure. Again, 4 shots. Needing 5s and 5s. 1 hit. Can he damage? No, he does not. And that will take care of the shooting for this turn. End phase, we do have tailing fire. The Barracuda is in the rear arc, and so he'll be able to shoot at him beginning of next turn before the movement phase. So here we are at the end of turn 6, beginning of turn 7. Turn 6 was supposed to be the disengagement turn, as we are down to a single Tau aircraft, which is only worth 20% of the total force by numbers. As you can see, we've got the 1 Tau Barracuda versus 2 Lightning Strikes and 1 Avenger Strike aircraft. The Tau bases have not been destroyed, although you can see that there is one with damage on it. As the bases were not destroyed, the Imperials will not get any points for the bases, and as the bases did not get rolled off the end of the trailing edge, Tau don't get any points for them either, despite the fact they're still existing. So, looking at the casualties, Tau gave up 33 points for Barracuda number 1, another 14 points for the Remora, and 18 points for the 2 Skyfire defense platforms, for a total of 65 points for the Imperial forces. On the Imperial side, they lost the 2 Avengers with Hellstrike for a total of 58 points, and they have a damaged Lightning Strike, which is worth half points, or 19, which will add up to 77 points for the Tau. As rounding up, 10% of the 77 is 8 points, and there's a difference of more than 8 points between the Imperial casualties and the Tau casualties. At this point, Tau have a marginal victory. So, beginning of turn 7, let's roll to see who gets the initiative. Tau get the initiative, and the Tau are going to make Imperials move first, simply because if I don't know where they're going, I'm going to have a hard time attacking somebody. We still have the tailing fire here, so let's do tailing fire before I forget again. Burst cannons at short range get a total of 3 shots. They're at the same altitude, so it's 5s and 5s to hit. We will hit once. Will we damage? He will damage, so that's the first damage point onto the Avenger. And now we have 1 shot with the missile pod. Again, 5s to hit, 4s to damage. Rolled a 5 to hit, 4+ to damage. He rolls the 4, and the Barracuda manages to shoot down the last Avenger in the tailing fire phase. So this isn't that good for the Imperials. All of a sudden they were well in the lead, and now they've lost all their ground attack aircraft. What can they do next? Well, I think for starters we'll move this one. And he was doing a stoop. And he's presently traveling speed 4, altitude 2. So he's going to go this way, I think. 1, 2, turn 3, 4, and I will turn him to hex side so he's facing that way. And he's going to drop down to altitude 1, which will then make him pick up to speed 5 next turn. Oops, wrong way. The Tau pilot then moves. He chose to do a stall turn. He's going speed 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I like that. So away we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's going to do a 180. And I think, do I want to climb him? Yeah, no, I think I'm going to leave him at 6. So that leaves this last lightning. He's doing the same maneuver. Stoop. He's traveling speed 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, but then he's going to have to turn and turn. He's not going to get the angle he wants. So he's going to turn 1, turn again, 2, 3, 4. He will turn. He's at altitude 1. I'm going to leave him at 1, so they're going head to head. And that'll be his move. So, first shooting for turn 7. Unfortunately for Tau, he made the Imperials move first and then destroyed the target he was after. That lets this lightning to have first shot on them. They're at the same altitude, going head to head. Multi-laser at medium range gets 6 shots, needing 5s and 5s. Ooh, good hitting. He's got 3 hits. Needs 5s to damage. No damage. He does have missiles. So we'll fire the first pair. 1 will hit. Damage is on a 3+, 6 is extra damage. And he got the extra damage. So the Barracuda, only having 2 structure points, is destroyed before he can shoot back. So this is the end phase of turn 7. As you can see, there are no Tau flyers left anymore on the table. So that means the game ends here. There's no disengagement turn because, quite frankly, there's no reason to disengage. The Tau flyers are all gone. There are no Tau ground defenses even to shoot back at the Imperial fighters. I know the game technically should have ended at the end of turn 6, but I think I'll use the totals from the end of turn 7 to finish the campaign. Simply because I really did want to give the Imperials a chance to destroy a ground target and possibly pull up ahead. Just looking at the aircraft casualties, I could tell the points would be close, so I jumped to calculations before doing a mission review simply because I could not tell who had won the game in my head. Mental math is just not my forte. Although the Tau defenses were wiped out completely, Tau were able to shoot down all 3 Avenger Strike fighters. This was done by the hard efforts of the Tau pilot Kai Lo in Barracuda 2 and the one ground defense that managed to get some shots off. The Remora, Barracuda number 1, and the other ground defense did nothing at all other than get destroyed and give points to the Imperials. So Tau give up 98 points to the Imperials, the cost of the entire force. On the Imperial side, the Avengers gave up a total of 87 points, but the damaged lightning was worth half points, and that just barely pushed Imperial losses to 102 points. As the difference is only 4 points and less than 10% of the difference of the higher score, which would be 11 points rounded up, I would call the battle a draw based on the damage alone. For the final mission results, Tau get 102 points of damage that they caused onto Imperial forces. There are no special mission points for the defenders as none of the objectives made it off the area of engagement. We never needed to roll over once. I did give Tau 3 lists bonus victory points as they were 2 victory points short of their hard limit of 100 points, whereas Imperials were 5 points short of their 150 points. Though the attackers and the defenders being different limits, I really don't know if that's a fair score or not. As you can see, the Tau already earned enough points that it was over the Tau list limit of 102 points on the Imperial side. So Imperials start off with 98 points for the damage they did to the Tau Air Force. Unfortunately, the Imperials did not destroy any of the ground objectives, although they did damage one. So Imperials don't get any mission points either. Finally, the Imperials were farther away from their list limit than the Tau, so they don't get any list points. So that gives us 105 points for Tau to Imperials 98. As there is a difference of less than 10% or 11 points difference between the higher number and the lower number, I declare this mission a draw. As the campaign draws to an end and the last mission is a tie, both sides get 2 campaign points, giving Tau 17 campaign points over the Imperials' 15 camp points. The Tau managed to squeak out a campaign victory. So a couple mistakes were made. Well, okay, a few. Okay, more than a few. First, I completely forgot to roll for the Barracuda 2 as a reinforcement at the beginning of turn 2. That's not so bad. It's quite possible I would have missed the roll and it would have come in on turn 3 anyway. But then I brought the Barracuda 2 on the leading edge of the area of engagement. Rereading the mission rules afterwards, I realized all aircraft were supposed to come in at the trailing edge of the area of engagement. Also, I forgot to include ground defenses when calculating losses for turn 5. I ended up playing a 7th turn, but that's not so bad. I sort of preferred that last turn anyway. Also, I charged in and wasted the Tau Remora and Barracuda 1 in that wide open area in the middle of the area of engagement. What I should have done was held them back and either sniped or done ambushes with the Tau fighters. Instead, they both charged out, were left in the open, exposed, and got shot down before they could fire a single shot each. I went through the recording multiple times, and I'm pretty sure I lost some of the Hellstrike missiles on one of the Avengers. there didn't seem to be as many hell strikes fired off as there should have been when I did the final reviews. When I first looked at this mission, I really thought the defenders would have no chance at all with a 50-point list difference in order to do this. Instead, if I had stopped at turn 6, they would have won, but I continued on to turn 7 and they still managed to hold out and maintain a draw. The other thing I'm proud of is I remembered that hell strikes count as bombing attack because they are affected by the ground attack rule. That's something I keep forgetting. I think that bombing attack rule is misnamed. It just makes people presume too much what it affects. However, in spite of using the bombing attack rule, I still couldn't hit anything on the ground with a 4+. So, did it really help me? Not so much. Finally, that 36 hex long area of engagement is really a long space. In the end, the battle was mostly moving between two map sections, 12 by 9 inches each, once the forces got into engagement range. I might want to try this mission instead of using 4 map sections, just using 3. That would give me a 27 hex long area of engagement. It would speed up play and hopefully force the area of engagement to roll over at least 1 or 2 times. What was the best way to play this mission? I really don't know. For the attackers, if you wipe out all the enemy aircraft too quickly, the game ends. If you take out all the ground defenses and a lot of the aircraft, like I did in turn 6 or 5, then yeah, you're doing the same thing. The game ends too quickly. Do you want to ignore all the tower defenses and try to run the bases up as much as you can? That's one possible solution, but that leaves you exposed to all the counterfire from the tower defenses. On defender side, yeah, as I stated earlier, one nasty thing, because the rules don't specify it, if you're dealing with a rules lawyer, someone could turn around and just go max speed up the side of the board and just continually make your Imperial player test to see whether or not they come on as reinforcements or they get lost. If you can do it fast enough, you can eventually wear down the Imperial forces so they have no chance of winning, although you will fill up the board with lots of targets for the Imperials if they have a chance to shoot. The other disadvantage is your opponent's going to get very annoyed very fast because they're constantly having to shuffle the table around, not to mention moving and having to do all these handling checks. So while it is a valid tactic, I would consider it very unsportsmanlike, and I really don't suggest you try it. Looking at the final Imperial review, Lieutenant Scholl survived his second mission and becomes an ace with a free reroll, and he's credited with his first kill. Lieutenant Surus survived, though his plane took some damage, but he's also credited with his first kill as well. The highest ranking pilots of the campaign are Lieutenants Arberg and Brandon, my 2 original Lightning fighter pilots, with 3 missions and 2 kills each. Unfortunately, neither was able to earn enough points to get an ace skill. And honestly, that's probably due to my reluctance to take the Lightnings after a few missions, simply because I was having so much frustration over their limited rate of fire. If anyone should have had the extra missiles in the game, it really should have been the Lightnings. 2 last cannon shots, it just really is annoying. 2 sets of Sky Strike missiles would make each fighter 25 points each, plus they would have that extra oomph just to be able to take out and protect their own aircraft. It was a perfectly acceptable idea, I just never thought of it until the end of the campaign. Unfortunately, we lost all the Avengers in the last mission, but I have to say, I didn't think the Avengers were that bad. I really liked the Avenger bolt cannon. I did find the add-on autocannons were in range more often than the las cannons, Simply because the way I played them, the Avengers tended to be in short range, and the las cannons have no shots at that range. I'm sort of curious what other people think about the Avenger. The biggest disadvantages I see is it only has 2 structure points, and it only has an acceleration throttle of 1. But there's ways to get around all that. For the Tau, we lost 2 Barracudas with burst cannon simply because I wanted to play the extra turn. If I had stopped at the end of turn 6, Tau pilot Kylo would have made a squadron ace with 2 missions under his belt and have 2 kills. Hotel died before he could get a single shot off this mission, same with the Remora. As I stated earlier, the loss of Barracuda and Remora really was my fault. When I finished moving the Barracuda in turn 2 to get the perfect ambush on 1 Lightning, and I realized as soon as I finished the move, the other Lightning could get a perfect flanking shot, and he did, and he hit, and he destroyed it. If I had held the Barracuda back 1 or 2 more hex spaces, it could have still had a shot at the first Lightning, and had line of sight blocked to it by the building in the middle of the table. The Remora, well, I think that was just unlucky. It was in a bad position to begin with. And when that lightning strike got a line of sight on him, I did successfully jink into hiding behind the building. And I still managed to get shot down by Avenger with the short range shot. With only 3 shots from Avenger bolt cannon at short range, I figured I was safe, especially the way I roll. And of course, I made the shot, in spite of my own history. The Tau ace of the campaign was Whiskey in a Tiger Shark. Not only did he survive 4 missions, he clocked in 4 kills. 1 more kill and Whiskey would have gotten an ace skill. I sort of have to wonder what would have happened if I had taken one of the Tiger Sharks instead of a Barracuda. Well, that's it for this mission and this campaign. We're finally finished the Taros Air War. I'll be taking a bit of a break as I decide what I want to do next. I'm hearing rumblings that the game stores around here are finally opening up their game tables, so hopefully I can actually get some games against some real opponents soon. I've also been approached about demoing Adeptus Titanicus locally, so maybe I'll start something there. But then there is a bunch of Battletech I received from Kickstarter too, and then there's so many choices. I hope you enjoyed this campaign and are encouraged to play and post your own games of Aeronautica Imperialis. In the meantime, be safe and good gaming.